Alright, guys, continuing coverage on the George Floyd protests and all the cop stuff going around the country right or the world, really. Uh, so this is going to be several parts. There's probably about 3 videos worth of stuff I need to talk about, but so much stuff happening so fast you can't get it all out. Today I'm going to be focusing on the defunding the police demands that the different people are making. It's kind of a mess. There's like too many groups. You can't really keep up with all of it. So first of all, Seattle is involved somehow. I don't know why Seattle is so important right now. This all started in Minneapolis. I don't remember anything really crazy happening in Seattle, but there's this whole new thing called the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. I'm not really all that familiar with what all's going on with it. I just heard about it yesterday in my Discord. They were talking about it, and I'm like, what the fuck is Chaz? And they were telling me people have set up, they've kind of taken over. I guess the police abandoned their police station and they took it over, and they took over like several city blocks, and they declared it like an autonomous zone, kind of like the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea, I guess, or something. Like there's no laws and there's no police allowed in there. One of my friends was saying, well, I'm just turn off all the electricity and the water and stuff. I don't know. I don't know how Seattle got involved. I don't know what did they do, like a lot more police brutality in Seattle after the George Floyd thing, because somebody was saying something I was watching about, you would expect, I think it was Kyle Kalinske maybe, you would expect after the bunch of brutality with George Floyd came out, the police would be embarrassed and they would be like, that's making us look bad, we got to stop doing anything crazy right now. But it's the opposite's happening. There's all these stories coming out from Buffalo, New York was a big one, and like just all over the place. Remember the one where they knocked the old man down? A lot of people forgot, or they didn't realize that crazy video where they knocked the old man down, his head split open on the sidewalk. Everybody was saying like he was just saying something they didn't like and they pushed him down. He wasn't even saying anything they didn't like. He was bringing them back a riot helmet that they had lost and returning it to him. So he was pro-cop probably, and they busted his head open. And some people are claiming that he did that on purpose to like set up the cops, like he's with Antifa or something. Like he may have been, but still, you don't bust your head open on the concrete on purpose. It's like crazy talk. So then, even crazier news story was like Brevard County, Florida came out and said all these cops that got arrested in Buffalo, New York, we'll hire them down here in Florida. What was the ones? There was 4 in Buffalo, right? And then there was 2 to knock the old man down or something. What were the 4 that they did? There's like so many stories I can't even keep track of it all. What does that say to the people of Florida if you're saying, give us your worst of the worst cops, we'll hire them down here? Like, that tells you, like, they don't give a fuck about you in Florida. But, so we got this Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Here's some of their demands, I guess. Seattle Police Department and attached court system are beyond reform. We do not reform, we demand abolition. Like, get rid of the police department. Which I'm kind of for that. We need to start over with a new police or a new type of policing, which is like what Minneapolis is doing. And trying to figure out a way to do, like, communities getting involved and stuff. Like, here's the deal with the police the way it is nowadays. It's not like they're not like preventing crime. They're pulling over speeders, which may prevent accidents in the long run if you like charging people enough money. And there's revenue generators. They try to get all the money they can out of you, try to get you for drugs. If you end the drug war, I think that was one of the demands. That would solve like a ton of your problems. Like people going to prison for nonviolent offenses with no victims. Every crime's supposed to have a victim, but the people that complain in most cases is the state. The state's complaining that you're breaking some kind of arbitrary rule they made about what plants you're allowed to grow or have on you. If you're driving drunk, that's one thing, but if you're just like carrying some weed on you to take to a party, who cares? We don't need to be putting people in jail for that. So if you get rid of the police force, you're not actually making things more dangerous other than criminals that don't commit crimes because they're worried about the police showing up. The times that somebody did something illegal and the police got there in time and stopped it, it's like so low a percentage anyway. Maybe if they're on the way to like a convenience store robbery or something, they might get there in time. But like if somebody breaks into your house, you're just fucked. They're not going to get there. You're dead. So you can depend on your neighbors to help you out better than the police because they're already there and they know where you live and they know you. But like stopping people from like pulling over people on the side of the road, that's where most of your brutality and shit happens. When they drag you out of your car, they break your windows in because you're refusing to like get out of the car because they demanded it for no reason. Because you don't want them like If I was a cop, if I pull somebody for speeding, I write them a speeding ticket, they get on their way. I don't look for other problems. I know they tell them, like the police, that in their morning briefings and stuff. They say, there's a name for it, I forgot what it's called, but like you gotta like do something, like pull somebody over for some bullshit reason, and then start looking for extra things that you can tack on to it. Try to find drugs, try to find problems with the car, try to find if they're impaired some way. Even if they're not, you just gotta look for extra shit because they're trying to generate revenue. And I say they don't have quotas, but they do. Into school to prison pipeline and abolition of youth jails. Get kids out of prison, get cops out of schools. Yeah, I guess that's a good thing. I mean, school shootings you got to worry about, but you don't need cops in schools. They're not even just looking for kids with guns now. They're like trying to get them for drugs and other things. I guess there's one in Seattle currently being built that you're wanting to repurpose. We demand not the city government or state government, the federal government launch a full-scale investigation into past and current cases of police brutality in Seattle and Washington. And so I guess there was a bunch of cases of it. See, I watch a lot of videos that are like, if you look for their tyrant alert on YouTube, you'll see a lot of them. And I watch News Now Houston and Texas and some California guys I used to watch, and this guy in Florida, Jeff Gray. And I think there's like a ton of shit in Rhode Island. They're really bad. And they dress like Nazis. Look into that. And I think like Ohio, Memphis, Tennessee, some other kind of places I've heard it were really bad. I think there was one like in Kansas maybe or something. But I don't hear a lot of Seattle problems. I don't remember seeing a lot of Seattle, I don't think. There's like Southern Illinois. A lot of this is First Amendment stuff where they just don't know the law about photography in public. But the really like abusive ones or like stopping you at borders and like border patrol shit, that's really bad. Or if you're doing Second Amendment stuff, like they don't allow you to have a gun because they want to be the only people that have force. They don't want anybody questioning their authority. A lot of it is like contempt of cop arrests. That's the big one that I can't stand. People just arresting you because you didn't show them the proper like deference or whatever, like their fucking royalty. Reparations for victims of police brutality and a form to be determined. See, when you get into reparations, then I don't know about this. Retrial of all people in color currently serving a prison sentence for a violent crime. See, I don't know about violent crimes. Like, if they actually did something violent, crime related, then probably they should be in prison. Don't get rid of all prisons. But, like, if they're in there for possession of marijuana or some kind of drug offense, you should probably let them out of jail. Decriminalization of the acts of protest and amnesty for protesters generally, but specifically those involved in what has been termed the George Floyd Rebellion against the terrorist cell that previously occupied this area known as the Seattle Police Department. This includes the immediate release of all protesters currently being held in prison after the arrest made at the 11th Precinct in Pine on Sunday night and early Saturday morning. So this guy, Evan Herrera, in particular, filmed Seattle police macing a young girl and is now in jail. Oh yeah, I remember they were like had a line of adults and there was a kid and they just went across and they went down to the kid and then back up. Like they're just macing everybody. Shit's getting crazy. Release any prisoner currently serving time for marijuana offense. Okay, yeah, that's good. How many charges demands are there? I thought there was like just a small list. Immunity for police officers? They shouldn't have it anyway. See, the police have immunity if they arrest you for something that they didn't know was not a crime or something. So if you make police aware that something's legal and they arrest you for it anyway, then they lose their immunity and they can be charged civilly with themselves, so you don't have to like get the taxpayers to pay for their mistakes. Sexual harassment or abuse by Seattle Police Department, prison guards. Okay, I mean there's a lot of stuff going on in Seattle apparently I didn't know about. We also have economic demands. They got a lot of stuff going on in Seattle. Like this is like way beyond just police abuse and stuff. Homeless sweeps are cracking down on that now. Apparently, the citizens are cracking down on the police. Decentralized election process to give citizens of Seattle greater ability to select candidates for public office. They're getting into like everything. They're trying to reform the whole thing. I mean, what are they going to do if they don't meet these demands? Because you have to be prepared to go back and riot again. And the only thing that gets people to riot is when somebody's killed, not because they're just not doing your demands. So that's all kind of getting crazy. That's the whole Chaz thing. It's Seattle doing its own thing.